r/ask Reddit. What common knowledge is simply not true? Bears will eat honey, but what they're really after is the bee larvae, which is packed with protein. Also, mice don't love cheese. They prefer grains. Read that as gains. Pictured a ripped bunch of rats. Dogs don't see in black, white and grey. They're dichromial animals, which means that while they recognize less color differences than humans, who are trichromial, they still see a variety of actual colors. Dogs can't look up. The day I heard that, I was standing in the kitchen and my dog was standing up next to me. I looked down at him and he looked me in the eye. Touching or picking up a baby bird or rabbit will not make its mother abandon it. Yep, the mother bird rabbit is just scared of you. Leave the thing be and they'll come back. If you take it to a local wildlife center, it still might die. Goldfish don't have 15-second memories and can actually be taught to do tricks if you're dedicated enough. Yep, I had the same goldfish for about 8 years. The ducker would follow you around the room, moving about his aquarium to get as close to you as he could. He knew what his food can looked like, knew what corner he got fed at. He figured out how that if he blocked his filter with plant matter that we would clean his tank. I miss that fish. He died shortly after we moved. I had put him in a 5-gallon bucket while we moved his tank from one house to the next. When we got back to the other house, a neighborhood cat had slipped into the room and fished him out of the bucket. He lived another 48 hours before dying. And no, his name wasn't Nemo. He figured out how that if he blocked his filter with plant matter that we would clean his tank. This sounds a bit familiar. Was your fish named Nemo? If so, those were escape attempts. Quit letting your niece kill delicate aquatic life. Edit. My highest rated comment is about finding Nemo. That just sunk in. Putting a frog in cold water and boiling it will mean the frog won't jump out. In the actual experiment that inspired this little piece of wisdom, the researcher lobotomized the frogs. They would normally jump out. That researcher sounds like a bit of a sick duck. A lot of them were. Look up the Pit of Despair. It's not illegal to count cards at a casino, but it may be against casino rules. It won't get you sued, but it will possibly get you escorted out. Edit. Holy crap. 10k upvotes. And my wife u/styles said my useless knowledge wouldn't ever get me anywhere. Thanks guys. But in some places, for example Nevada, it is illegal to use an electronic device to count cards. So, an abacus is cool? George Washington didn't die of a cold like I was taught in school. He caught a cold and then his genius doctors decided to remove over half of a 67-year-old man's blood. They also exposed him to a chemical that made him shit himself. That's probably what did it. I remember being taught it was throat cancer because he smoked from a pipe a lot. I think most people have been told different things, but George himself asked for the bloodletting for whatever reason. His death is actually fairly gruesome, though fascinating. At some point he realized he had lost too much blood and he would die, so he started to look over his wills and laid in bed surrounded by friends, slaves, and wife. Friends, slaves, and wife. One of these things is not like the others. Carrots are good for you, and they do have some benefits to your eyes' health, but they don't improve your eyesight. It was propaganda spread by the British to distract the Germans from the fact they had a radar system. The real reason their pilots could see the German planes. Wait, you're telling me that the cinematic masterpiece Shoot 'Em Up was lying to me this whole time? Vitamin A deficiency will hurt your eyesight. The first symptoms are all eye and eyesight related, but a surplus isn't going to give you enhanced vision or anything. This thread is really confusing, as some people state the wrong assumptions and others write the correct ones. Now I don't know what to believe. It's Reddit of Arion is an expert on everything, so it's all true. An apple a day will keep the doctor away. I'm always eating apples and I have cancer. It says a day, not always. Apples keep doctors away, not cancer. Sorry. Asking a cop if they're a cop, and if they say no, then they can't arrest you for anything after that, or it would be entrapment. Also the definition of entrapment. It's not a cop waiting for you to pull out drugs so he can arrest you. Entrapment is a cop saying here, hold my drugs, and then arresting you for possession. Edit. For clarity's sake, the almighty and benevolent Wikipedia cites the following. It is the conception and planning of an offense by an officer, and his procurement of its commission by one who would not have perpetrated it except for the trickery, persuasion or fraud of the officer. So many people get this wrong. My old roommate used to hate that the police used bait cars because he felt that it was entrapment. Unless the police forced you to steal the car, it doesn't qualify. The air we breathe comes from trees. Partially true, but the oceans are responsible for 70% of the air that we breathe, and that's mostly from phytoplankton. So even if you don't think carbon emissions are affecting global temperatures, you might want to at least give a shit about acidification of the oceans. Edit. Obligatory thank you for the gold, whatever it is. The Great Wall of China is, in fact, not as visible from space as people claim. One step further, people claim it's the only man-made structure visible from space. Except one. There are plenty of man-made structures visible, and two, the Great Wall of China isn't one of them. I'm curious, which are visible from space? Cutting your hair will not make it grow faster. Shaving won't make your hair grow back thicker. Where does this misconception come from? I don't know about the hair, but the one about shaving is due to the fact that when you shave, you leave the hair with a blunt edge, while it's usually tapered. Therefore it appears thicker, but it's just a larger surface area, if I recall correctly, kind of like how hair on the head looks fuller after a blunt cut. The liquid coming from a steak is not blood. All blood is drained at the slaughterhouse. It's muscle tissue, water, and fat. True, the red liquid you see dripping out of a steak onto your plate is mostly myoglobin, which is a binding protein found in muscle tissue. It is actually related to hemoglobin, which is a binding protein found in blood. Just because he smelt it doesn't necessarily mean he dealt it. But what if he denies it? Did he or did he not supply it? Well, who started the rhyme? Generally that is who did the crime. Recently found out most people don't know that Guam is a U.S. territory. Or where North Korea said it. How many Americans know where North Korea is? Is it north of South Korea? After seeing the video linked in the above comment. Dear Americans, Canada is not near North Korea. Please don't harm us. Sorry if we somehow angered you. Letting a cut breathe usually ends up drying it out, leaving you with a bigger scar. If you keep it clean and moist with a band-aid and Polysporin, your cut will heal with less of a scar and cleaner. Edit. Breath to breathe. Please, if your cut is doing a breath, go see a doctor. No Polysporin. Don't even use an antibiotic cream on it. Vaseline, petrol jelly, has been shown to be superior at wound healing than Neosporin. Source: I'm a PA at a dermatology clinic. Edit. Because I'm a stickler for posting references, I had to wait in between patients to post this study. But here is a comparative study showing the efficacy of petroleum jelly versus antibiotics. Personally, I've seen a lot of adverse skin reactions from patients using the triple antibiotics, as it can cause a nasty atopic skin dermatitis. Looks like a skin rash. Edit 2. American Academy of Dermatologists recommendation on using Vaseline versus an antibiotic. They state as long as the wound is cleaned daily, it is not necessary to use antibacterial ointments. But chicks dig scars. We don't use only 10% our brains. Spec for herself genius. Edit. Sweet. Gold. You do use 100% of your brain, but your brain just happens to be retarded. You could bite through your own finger as easily as biting through a carrot. Fingers have bones in them. It'd be like biting through a chicken wing. On the same token, your bite is still pretty ducking strong. Think about all those times you've accidentally bitten your tongue while eating. That shit really ducking hurts and can draw blood. That's just your regular chewing. Think about if you really wanted to clamp down on something. A friend of a friend was once jumped by 3 guys in a revenge attack for some dodgy deal gone wrong. Details were a bit hazy, and even though he was a big tough guy, as the fight beating got worse, he thought they would kill him, and in the melee he somehow ended up biting someone's finger off. He said he didn't even know he'd done it until he spat it out when they'd legged it. There is still a number of people that think that modern batteries need to be as depleted as possible before charging, and then they have to be charged to the max. When with modern Li-ion batteries this is actually not the best way to keep battery life. we moved from NCD batteries, but our collective knowledge about batteries re-ends with them. Edit. NCD, not Nika. Edit 2. Check this link for the science behind it to convince your most stubborn folks. One of my professors refused to plug in his MacBook until it was at 1% because it was better for the battery. My mom tells me the same thing about our smartphones. I'm not super knowledgeable with battery technology. So why was that the case with older batteries? What makes modern batteries different? It's actually a lot worse for the LiPo batteries. They wear out a lot faster at 90-100%-ish and 10-0%-ish than most other batteries. Even Li-ion. It's just down to the chemistry of the batteries. Leaving your hair wet will not give you a cold. It makes me laugh when anime characters spend like 2 seconds in the rain and suddenly have a hospital level fever. Coughs several times, gets terminal diseases. A dog's mouth is cleaner than yours. They eat poop. This. I hate when grown people tell me my regularly brushed mouth is filthier than a dog's. Dogs don't swear though. I have a virus. Therefore, I need antibiotics. No you don't. Or I caught a cold. I need meds. No medications or herbal remedies have been conclusively demonstrated to shorten the duration of edit. Viral infection. Edit. The issue is more complicated than I thought, and as many have told me, you still can alleviate the symptoms. That human witnesses are the best proof. They are not. Court system is based on them. But witness statement is actually one of the worst evidences for anything. People can lie, hallucinate, subconsciously change details of stories, like timeline of events, consciously change details of stories to fit their agenda and biases, and brain even creates fake memories that never existed. There are also biases like confirmation bias and confusing correlation with causation. That's why when someone tells me, well, my auntie saw a ghost in 1965 and that's why I believe in them, that's like absolute non-evidence for anything. My professor in college used to be a defense attorney and he said that once, in court, a witness said that they remember the perpetrator being Indian or Hispanic. The actual DNA proven perpetrator was a white ginger dude. So close. Goldfish don't grow to the size of their tank. They grow till they get too big for their tank and then die. A healthy, non-genetic inbred garbage goldfish can live over 25 years and grow longer than a foot. Put 3 fairground goldfish in the back garden pond when I was a kid. Didn't realize until then that they could get so big. All 3 survived for years, and they are ducking huge and look nothing like a typical goldfish. Alpha wolves. The wolves in charge are actually the post-reproductive beaches and their adult sons. The whole concept of alpha wolves was developed based on wolves in captivity. Animals in captivity act a lot differently than ones in the wild. Also, obligatory don't talk to me or my adult son ever again. Not everybody was kung fu fighting. Eating low-fat foods will help you lose weight and be healthier. It's outdated science. Sugar is a far bigger problem. Also, fat makes you feel full, and low-fat foods tend to have a higher % sugar content. So you end up eating more to feel full on top of the negative effects of higher sugar content. Edit. Yes, of course calories in calories out matters. But eating a bunch of packaged stuff with added sugar and thinking it's low fat, so I can have as much as I want, is a good way to eat a ton of calories without feeling particularly full. And no, I'm not saying anything with sugar equals evil. Whole fruit is nutritious and delicious, and the effects of the sugar on your blood glucose levels are tempered by the fiber. LPT. This question is the entire concept behind the British comedy panel show QI. Give it a watch, y'all. I'm curious. Do they ever discuss the Acropolis where the Parthenon is, and what is said about it? Time is money. No, time is more valuable than money. Money comes and goes. Time only goes. Edit. Me right now https imgur.com bbjsflw. GIF. Money is circulated. Time is spent. The myth that you can target burning fat. People think doing more abdominal workouts will target stomach fat. You'll have a good core but it will still be covered by all those hot dogs you ate. Edit. A word. That the toilet bowl rotates differently on northern and southern hemispheres because of the Coriolis effect. While technically true, it requires massive toilets of insane proportions to observe. I don't think your toilet bowl should rotate at all. Popping your knuckles causes arthritis. Edit. I saw a bunch of comments talking about popping or cracking. To clarify, it goes by either. I used popping because it's what my parents say, while my friends say cracking. Something I hear a lot as a veterinary assistant from clients who think I'm just trying to scam them when I tell them that their pet has worms. Well, all dogs have worms. Yes, all dogs are born with worms, which is why you chew on them. They're not supposed to live with a parasite inside them their whole life. Something I hear a lot as a veterinary assistant from clients who think I'm just trying to scam them when I tell them that their pet has worms. Well, all dogs have worms. Yes, all dogs are born with worms, which is why you chew on them. They're not supposed to live with a parasite inside them their whole life. All dogs are born with worms. If you pee in a pool, there is not chemical that will change color so people know you are peeing. It is a great way to get kids to not pee in the pool though, which is why every kid hears it when they start swimming. It is not hotter in summer because the earth is closer to the sun then. We were taught otherwise, but apparently a lot of people think this. Edit. For all those asking, the actual reason is axial tilt, namely the fact that sun rays fall at more perpendicular in summer, meaning more energy reaches us per surface area. Days are longer than they are in winter. The light has to go through less atmosphere. It's not because tilt means one hemisphere is closer to the sun. That's completely negligible compared to the difference in actual distance between summer and winter. 5 million km. You can't end a sentence with a preposition. So you're saying a preposition is something I can end a sentence with? It's true. A piece of information this good is hard to come by. That Arp's mom is a big fat horse. I met her. She's actually a very nice, respectable lady. Bakes a delicious pie. Women's periods don't sync up. It's confirmation bias. Edit. More detail. Since I'm at a computer, imagine you're at an intersection watching your turn signal and that of the car in front of you. They probably aren't going at exactly the same rate. So sometimes you'll blink together, and other times you'll be exactly off. This is noticeable, because the variation in length is so large compared to the length of a cycle, but a day or two tops compared to a 28-day cycle, that's going to take a lot longer to stop being more or less synced. For example, Alice and Bobby have completely different cycles. They join the same sorority, around when their periods are starting to happen at the same time. They assume this is their periods syncing because they're sorority sisters. Then they graduate, and by now they've been synced long enough for their periods to start drifting apart. They interpret this as desincing. Johnny didn't hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. He did not hit her. He did not. Do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I love doing nothing, so I'm not that sure about that. Feed a man a fish, and you'll feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll be fed for life. Is not found in the Bible. Neither is God helps those that help themselves. You have to wash your hands with hot water to clean them. Water that could kill harmful germs would also be hot enough to scald you. Blood is blue until it hits oxygen. Your blood is always red. Also, eyes change based on mood or on different days. They may appear to change color based on pupil size, which do dilate based on mood and lighting. But the color of the iris isn't really changing. They might get darker with age, but probably not. Edit. So the eye color thing has generated some debate, with the eye color changing. I was more referring to complete color change from day to day, i.e., sometimes my eyes are brown, sometimes they are blue. Over a long period of time, your eyes can change color. This can be due to increased pigment from baby to adult. Here is an interesting genetic explanation that I found for eye color change as you get older for anyone interested. Injury to your eyes can also cause color change. Your blood appears blue in your veins through your skin due to your skin scattering blue light better than red light. Oxygen travels through the bloodstream. Therefore it is already exposed to oxygen. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.